So in the chapter 12, first starting with the introduction, we can see that The Voter is written by Chinua Achebe, who was a Nigerian novelist, poet, professor, and critique. So this is going to be the introduction. So the first one, you're going to write with starting with the first three lines, that is about the introduction. The Voter is written by Chinua Achebe, who was a Nigerian novelist, poet, professor, and critique. So now there are two kinds of questions which you can expect from this chapter. One is about Roof most trusted of whispering campaigners. The Roof was most trusted of whispering campaigners. Or if any questions is asked similar regarding to Roof, you can write this answer. And the second type of question which we can see over here is that ridicules the power and selfless of Marcus Eby. So these are the most two repeated questions which has been asked for the exam. One is about Roof, and secondly it's about the Marcus Eby. So starting with the Roof. So Roof most trusted of whispering campaigners, or any other questions related to Roof, the answer is going to be starting with your introduction. The Voter is written by Chinua Achebe, who was a Nigerian novelist, poet, professor, and critique. So starting with your answer, The Roof had become a real expert in election campaign at all levels, village, local government, and national. So Roof had become a very good expert in election campaign. So he was very good in election campaigning, and he had become expertise in all the levels of village, national government, and village, local government, and national. So he was a very good election campaigner. So next one was he could tell the mood and temper of the electorate. So I think because of his experience, he could tell the mood and temper of the electorate. He used his intelligence to fool the local people and politics to his advantage. So he used different techniques and his intelligence to fool the local people and politics to his advantage, and he had used the politics to his advantage, and he would fool the people to his local people to make sure that those people vote to the Marcus Eby. He was getting money from Marcus Eby for his work of manipulating the minds of people. So, looking at his work, the Marcus Eby was paying him. So he was getting money from Marcus Eby for his work. So because of his work, Marcus Eby was paying him for manipulating the minds of people. Next, he convinced he convinced elders that Marcus Eby, being a son of the village, should be considered with great respect, and asked them to vote for him by giving him 4 shillings. So he convinced the elders that the Marcus Eby, is as being the son of the village, should be considered with great respect, should be given with a great respect for him, and asked them to vote by giving them 4 shillings. Okay, so he gave the elders 4 shillings and asked them to vote for Marcus Eby because he was a son of the village. Later, when the leader of POP approached him, the Roof took the money, £5 from him, and was ready to vote for POP. So what happened? So later, when the leader of POP approached him, what happened? The Roof took the money, £5 from him. So Roof took £5 from him and was ready to vote for POP. The leader made him swear off I. So it was basically when the leader of POP approached him and asked Roof, and when they had offered him £5, he had taken it happily, and he was ready to vote for POP. And as the leader made him to swear on the I is basically a holy book which they follow. And next, the G point which we can see is that at last he clearly manages to cast his vote for both without disclosing the news for his accepting money to anybody. So at last he does not disclose the fact. He cleverly manages to cast his vote for both. He cast his vote for both. One is for Marcus Eby as well as for POP. POP. So he came out as though nothing had happened by casting an individual invalid vote. He made a mockery of democracy. So it's basically he made a mockery of democracy. So this is basically about an entire description about Marcus Eby, just recalling of all the points. The Roof most trusted of whispering campaigners. So starting with first, the Roof had become a real expert in election. So he was very expert in election campaigning at village, local government, and national, and he could tell the mood and temper of the electorate. He has very good capability that he could tell the mood and temper of that electorate. He used his intelligence to fool the local people. So he had his power to fool the local people and politics for his full advantage. He was getting money from Marcus Eby for his work of manipulating the mind. So he was getting money from Marcus Eby for his work of manipulating the people. At last, he convinced the elders that Marcus Eby, being the son of the village, should be considered with great respect, and he offered them 4 shillings and asked them to vote for Marcus Eby. Okay. Later, when leader of the POP approached him, the roof took the money, £5 from him, and was ready to vote for POP. So later, when the POP leader campaigner approached him and offered him £5, he took it happily and swearing in the eye, he said that he will be voting for POP. So at last, he cleverly manages he cast his vote for both. One is for POP as well as for Marcus Ibi accepting the money. So he came out as though nothing had happened. By casting an invalid vote, he made a mockery of democracy. So it's basically he had made a mockery of democracy by casting an invalid vote. Next one, second type of question which we can expect from here is ridicules the power and selfishness of Marcus Ibi. So see now, Marcus was not two successful mission school teachers. So starting, so this is going to be a solution answer for all the questions anything related to Marcus Ibi. So Marcus was not two successful mission school teacher. So Marcus was not a successful mission school teacher. Politics, he was not a successful mission school teacher. Politics had come to their village and he had wisely joined up. So politics had just the politics had just come to the village and he had just wisely joined up, and recently he had joined up. The villagers felt that they had underrated the power of the ballot paper. They felt that Marcus was a poor man and they would be the first to give their papers free. So basically they considered Marcus being the son of the village, they decided to vote for him. But what happened was like, we could see that in the E point, the Marcus Ibi Evans, when he became the Honorable Minister for Cultural, had two long cars and had built. So he used to, once he became the Honorable Minister for Cultural, he had done everything for his only selfish gain, but nothing he had done for his society or nothing for his people. So Marcus Ibi, the chief Honorable Minister for Cultural, had two long cars and had built himself the biggest house anyone had seen in those parts. So he had built his very big house that had seen in those parts. And in G point we can see that the village had neither running water nor electricity, but Marcus had installed a private plant to supply electricity to his new house. So in that village then there was no proper water facilities nor electricity, but Marcus had installed a private plant to supply electricity to his new house. But Marcus, what did he do? He had installed a private plant to supply electricity to his new house. For his selfish gain, he has utilized his power for maximum gain. He had christened his new house Umofia Mansion. Just remember the name, it's very important for 1 markers. He had christened his new house Umofia Mansion and slaughtered 5 bulls and countless goats to entertain the people on day it was opened. So basically, he had christened his new house for his new house Umofia Mansion and slaughtered 5 bulls. So he had slaughtered the 5 bulls and countless goats to entertain the people and day it was opened. So basically, to entertain the people, he had basically slaughtered the 5 bulls and countless goats to basically entertain the people. And in the I point we can see that after feasting was over, the villagers told themselves they had underrated the power of the ballot paper and should not do so again. They, in the J point we can see that they are ready to try it in a different way. They demand money to vote. They are demanded money to vote. In this way, they are also basically a mockery of the democracy can also be seen. It's basically that the Marcus Ibi was a person who was to utilize his power for his only selfish gain. He did not consider the welfare of the people. He did not even consider the welfare of the people. So people came to a conclusion that if we can ask him money only before the election, but after election we cannot ask him. So they decided not to make a mistake again. So just recalling the answer, we can see that about the Marcus Ibi. The Marcus Ibi was not too successful mission school teacher. He was not a successful mission school teacher. Politics had just come to their village and he was just wisely joined there. He has just joined over there, and the villagers underrated the power of the ballot paper. They felt that Marcus Ibi, being a poor man, they would be the first to give papers. So they decided, okay, to give a chance for Marcus Ibi to be the leader, because he, being the son of the village, he would be knowing what are the problems faced by the society or the village and providing so and so means. But once when he became the Honorable Minister for Cultural, he had used for utmost for his welfare gains, such as 2 long cars, and had built himself the biggest house anyone else had seen in those parts. The village, when the village was lacking behind the water and nor electricity, but Marcus' house, he had installed a private plant to supply electricity in his new house. He had christened his new house Umofia Mansion and slaughtered 5 bulls and countless goats. So basically, to entertain the people, to get what he had done, to christen his new house. It's an Umofia Mansion. Do not forget the spelling. Umufia, Umofia Mansion, and slaughtered 5 bulls and countless goats to entertain the people. And the day it was open. And in Ipon, we can see that after the feasting was over, the villagers told themselves that they had underrated the power of ballot paper and should not have done so again. So the people came to a conclusion. The second time election, they came to a conclusion of not voting him once again, not facing voting him once again, but they decided to take him. They were ready, try it in a different manner. They demanded money. They had demanded money to vote. They had demanded money for voting. So these are the two expected questions which we can see for exam. So one is about the roof and second one is about the Marcus EB. So if any question is asked regarding to roof, you're supposed to write it. You're not supposed to write it as point by point. You're supposed to write directly by a paragraph, just written so such a way that you guys can understand it. Hope to see you in my next video with further interesting chapters. Thank you. Goodbye. See you in my next video. And if you do like this video, please do like it, share it, and subscribe it.